Let's go. Season 1, episode 6, right?
Sir.
We got a guest today, and I'm going to let you say your name. I'm not going to say it.
Cool.
All right, because I'm not you. I'm me, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to be a good episode, y'all. This is going to be interesting. This is the last episode of season 1, so thank you all for listening in and watching thus far. I'm excited for what we're going to dive into today and unpack. So go ahead, man. Let them know who you are.
Well, some may know me as the King of Southfield. Some may know me as JCM Dev, and then some may know me as Devin. Whichever way you know me, just call me Dev, and we can keep it rolling like that. That was a good drop.
That was a great
That's
drop.
pretty fire.
That was
But
pretty
nah.
fire.
Yeah, just call me Dev, man. I'm just Dev. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blessed, and I'm just glad to be here. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I'm happy that you are here because this is something that I honestly feel like, for sure, it's been a long time coming. I've been waiting to sit and converse with you about a lot of things. You know what I mean? We always have these conversations, right? We go back a while, like a long time, right? We've been in each other's lives since we were kids, man. Since we were, what, 7,
Yep.
6, right?
Yeah.
So we've been able to see the progression, the evolution of, each other, ourselves, and I've been blessed with just watching you grow and watching you become this force in all of these different spaces in life, right? But I want to start with, just something simple, right? Like, just elaborate, talk to me, man. Let me know what's going on, like, in your mind, in your heart. How have you been feeling, right? Where's your mental health been lately?
I'm glad you asked me that. Like, you never hear people ask that, even on a brother-to-brother level, friend-to-friend level. That's not like a conversation to be held. But truthfully, I'm like lately it's been like, how can I say? Like, it's been hard, but like it's mainly because of I really need to get out with the old and get in with the new. Seriously, like I've been like holding on to so many old relationships with people, with like certain habits I got, just different things, and I just need to let go. And I think that's like what's holding me back, like having that connection to it or just being used to it. So it kind of like messes with my mental health here and there, especially this week. This week been kind of a little shaky. Like I'm really like a real big social person, but like I ain't really feel like talking to nobody this week, truthfully. Like, but it was cool because it kind of like led me up to this moment. Like, this my moment to just let everything out. So we here now. But this week been a little challenging, man. Just not really being in this space to really socialize with a lot of people. And like, I know on the episode with Dion, he mentioned us being so accessible at all times.
Right.
And that's like really what I ended up realizing this week, just how accessible I am to everybody. They can call me at any moment. I'm answering. Like I'm answering anybody call, no matter what. If I miss it, I'm making sure I call it back. And it's like the stuff that be like said, be like, that just kind of drained me. Like I don't care about Dirk and India breakup. I don't care about the stuff that happened with the Celtics organization. Like so many different calls you just get. And you just be like, do you know what I do all day? You think I care about hearing that? It's like I think if people stepped in my shoes, they wouldn't call me for none of the stuff they call me for. But the problem is, it's like people know me for so long. And that's why I always commend you for you always knowing me this long. You still don't call me as if like I'm on this second grade level when we first met. Like, bro, like, or we still in high school. Like, bro, I don't want to talk about high school stuff. I don't want to talk about middle school stuff. Like, we're adults now. And like we go through stuff daily. Ask me how I'm doing. So that's why when you just asked that, it stood out, bro, and I really appreciate that. Real
For sure. Well, definitely, man. I mean, it for me. I mean, it's the biggest part of my life, right? Just mental health, but also having the same courtesy to extend to others, right? Like when you're asking, "How are you?" Okay, you asking from the space of I really actually want to know, like, how are you? I'm not asking because it's a custom. I'm not asking because it's something that it's a routine, right? I'm asking because I actually genuinely love you. I care about you. I want to know, because if it by any chance you aren't okay, you're not in the best place, or even if you're in the best place, right? I want to know what I can do to either make that better, right? How I can contribute to your life in that space. Or if you aren't, if it's on the other end, then I want to know what I can do to contribute as a friend, as a brother, um, or as a boyfriend in my relationship, or as a son to my mother, my dad. Like, I want to know, where can I fill in the blank? How can I help? Where can I contribute? Whether that be listening, whether that be speaking, whether that be acting on it, right? So it's very important that when I ask you that question, and just generally when anybody asks any friend or any, person of interest that question, that whoever's asking it, they mean it. You know what I mean? And I understand and I resonate with what you're saying when it comes to people calling and bombarding and inserting their lives into you, and I'm sorry, into your life unconsciously, right? Because they don't know what you're going through. However, is it really their fault that they don't know? You know what I mean? Like, is it their fault that they don't know that you are dealing with this week? Because, mind you, we can get so wrapped up into our own world where any little inconvenience from the outside world into our world may feel like an attack on us, right? So I could be depressed the whole week, and then my brother decides to call me, yo, bro, let's go to the game. And in my head, I'm like, bro, I don't want to go to the game. And I've been sick. I've been depressed. I've been sad all week. What you mean I want to go to the game, right? It's not his fault that he didn't know that. But I can easily internalize and personalize that interaction because he never called me to check on me in the first place. So then that kind of breaks down three different sectors of it, right? Was it his responsibility? Have I even been a good brother? Have I even been there for him, right? And practically, how does that even look? What's going on in his life? So it humbles you, or at least it should, but then it also brings light to so many different elements and dynamics and relationships that can influence how we go about them. So now those people that are calling you about the Celtics game, right, or high school stuff, right, those people that are contacting you about those things, if they knew you on that level, they knew you personally, like if currently, like the current version of you, who you are, if they knew you, then they would know, that, okay, I'm calling him asking him about this game, but that I didn't even call him to ask him how he's doing. I just saw him post this on Instagram 2 days ago. It looks kind of sketchy. Let me check up on him about that. Let me see if he's even in the headspace before I even ask him this question, right? Or definitely don't even like the Celtics. Why would I even ask him about the Celtics game? So people need to know you on another level to understand, like, okay, here's my boundary. Because the moment that you allow yourself to be that accessible, it's easy to be accessible in a space where you're not touchable. Not touchable. You're untouchable, like social media. So many people can feel like they know you, and they don't. So it gives them then the space and freedom to hit you up, call you, ask for your number, ask around, talk about you like they've been there with you, and they haven't. And it gives people that space in that world now and then. But then in the real world, it can even be the same. In the real world, people who are the closest to you might not even know you the most, which is more tragic. But I mean, I don't know. It pulled a string for me because as you get older, that's something that you are faced with a lot. Like, who is really in my life to pour into my life? Who is really bearing good fruit in my life? Who is actually there for me in my life? I work a lot. I'm sad a lot. I'm happy a lot. Who's there for me when I'm happy, right? Who's there for me when I'm sad? Who's there for me when I don't know how I'm feeling? Who's giving me advice? Who's pouring into me emotionally, spiritually? Who's going to the gym with me? Who's making sure I eat right? Like, who are these people in my life? So I know that when I am in these positions, I know who I can go to. I know who can benefit, I know whose advice I can benefit from. And also, too, I know how to keep myself safe because you have to protect yourself. You can't be that accessible. As much as you want to be and as much as sometimes you need to be, that becomes a normalized concept of, like, I need to be available because if I'm not, then something bad could happen. But it's not your fault if something bad happens to somebody or something, So, yeah, that kind of sparked that whole line of thought for me because I relate. I resonate.
And then even, too, like...
Sorry to cut you off. I need to check something with your mic real quick.
Okay.
How
Yeah.
it's not your responsibility.
Yeah. So they.
Yeah, take your time, bro.
Should I keep the watch on for continuity though?
Yeah. Back up. I'm gonna give you a new sync point.
And be, just relax.
Yeah.
Relax. Don't try to move too fast.
Here it is. All right.
So the thing is with that though, right? Like, I have to. One thing I learned, I have to be comfortable being a villain. I ain't never been a villain ever. So it's like right now, like the type of time I'm on right now, I'm like the villain.
Now, are you the villain in your eyes? Or are you villain like perceptionally? Like,
Perceptionally.
okay.
In my eyes, I'm doing what's best for me, and I'm sharing my story, and I'm sharing my truth, and I'm being myself at all times. But I used to have to like hide that or kind of like mask it through like being funny, like through comedy and all these different things and stuff like that. But now when I'm just outwardly just, nah, I ain't with that. And I'm standing on it. Or when I make a record like Mama's Boy and I stand on it. Or when I'm right here speaking about my life or anything that I'm feeling, just expressing my feelings, it's like, it's so many people that's going to watch this that talk to me that be like, dang, I didn't know you felt this way. And it's like, because we never had that relationship for me to be able to express. It was always for you to be able to express. I know how you feel all the time. You call me all the time and tell me how you feel. You get what I'm saying? But like, you don't even understand mine and I don't expect you to. But it's like, the door not even open for me to even get in there to like even feel comfortable expressing it to you. Like you don't keep that space open. It's like, and then like you ever express to somebody, right? And like they connected to something in their life and it be like not nearly as close to what you was even saying. Like it's like, nah, man. It just showed the like the growth. The growth in myself. The growth in their sales and where they at, man, it's like, it get hard out here, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But like, always being there for people, eventually you gonna hit a wall. Like, you gonna hit a wall. And it's like, what happens if I pull away? Like, and I'm just not there for you no more. But I'm there for me. During that time, I'm there for me. Like, I'm there for me. How does that make you feel? So it's like, right now, I'm just in like a test. I'm testing everybody. Loyalty, you know how they say that little crap. I'm testing loyalty. I'm testing all of that because I'm doing me now. So now what? You feel what I'm saying? I'm expressing how I feel. And like a lot of times, like with us being the age we are, bro, we don't get listened to, bro. We don't get heard in our families, bro. Mainly, let's talk about the family first.
Let's go
let's just take it straight
let's
there.
do it,
You
bro.
feel
Let's
what I'm
go there.
saying?
Come on.
Us being young.
Yeah.
Open-minded. Let's keep it right here at open-minded first. You don't get open-minded together, you're not getting heard by nobody older. You're done. You're done, right? So don't let us add the church factor and the religion factor and those Christianity factors in because now it's like if you're not singing our tune, we not trying to hear none of that. You dig what I'm saying? And it's like it's not even like. It's like I don't like how everybody else thought can be just heard and accepted, but my thought has to be challenged. But it's challenged because I'm young and you don't want to understand me. You get what I'm saying? It's not that you don't understand it. You don't want to. So if I say something simple like Mama's Boy, for example, something simple like, why should I have to forgive somebody that was not there? Why should I have to forgive somebody that didn't apologize? Simple, right? How is that hard to understand? How is that hard to grasp? I don't understand. Like, I don't know if it's just I'm in my own thoughts or something. Like, I don't see how you don't get that. Like, and then like you can even connect it to their lives and be like, just like this, when you was at work or when you was on the road and they cut you off and they said, and you still was mad. No, that's different because what's different? What's the difference between years of my life missed out? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And when you start taking it that deep, it's like, talk to your daddy, talk to you. So it's like me now, once I see me being a youth, right? Us being young, right? Us not being heard. If we not being heard, imagine the kids younger than us.
Yeah.
Imagine that, bro. And like we in a perfect position because not only do we have social media, we know how it works. We know the impact it has on people and everything, right? But we also had a life where we didn't grow up on social media as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
So we got the perfect balance where we can understand these young kids right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be the ones that's providing our ears and saying, we hear you, we understand you, we get it. That's it. Who doing that for us though?
Right.
We gotta do that for each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
this is why, like, my friends are my family to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because what you would expect for a family, it's like if you're not getting that because the era difference or the mindset difference, it's like how we don't understand each other and we on the same type of time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, there's a lot to unpack in what you just went down,
it's
bro.
a lot, bro. It's a lot, bro. Us. I know your heart, right? I know your heart. You know my heart. Our hearts being big. It's like we gonna go through so much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And nobody sees that though. Like, and we just gotta smile. We just gotta be happy.
Yeah.
We just gotta, you feel me? And it's like, it's one thing to be that, bro, but it's another thing to, why can't I be human like you? I allow everybody else to be themselves. The moment I be me, it's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. It's weird.
Bro. Okay, I'm gonna start from where you started, right? So you talk about the doors not being open to you when your door was open to them, and so the relationship is, okay, I know how you feel, but you don't know how I feel, boom, and then you not having the comfortability to go into that space because it wasn't even open to you to begin with in your eyes, right? And then I'm gonna jump to the whole, essentially the church hurt, the hypocrisy, and you know what I'm saying, that whole lane, right?
Yeah.
And then we're gonna move up into where we just ended, right? So look, boom, right? What I heard in the first part was proximity, right? Proximity breeds intimacy. The closer I am to you, the more intimate our relationship is. Okay? Now, I'll give you 3 examples. 1, God, okay? I'm just using myself as one. 1, if I'm not close to God, I'm not even going to live the life that I ought to live. I'm not going to live in that light. I'm not going to bear the good fruit that I'm supposed to. And that's because I'm not close to him. So in order for me to do that, I have to be intentional in my relationship. I gotta read my Bible. I gotta pray. I have to, love my neighbor. I have to show up. I have to be an image bearer. I have to represent him, right? So boom, there you go. God, okay. My spouse, right? My girl. Next to God, she's the closest thing I have in my life, right? If I wasn't close to my own girlfriend, then I wouldn't have a good relationship. Okay? Reason why that intimacy level is deeper than it would be from, my friends and families, because they're not the ones I'm going to marry. They're not the ones I'm going to have kids with.
Right.
Okay? That's a whole nother level of intimacy. You're talking about kissing, sex, right? Like family, things of that nature, right? Like that's how deep the intimacy can go, right? Boom. Okay, now you got friends, your fellowship, right? Your brothers, your sisters. On that level, you're talking about different dynamics, emotional, spiritual, physical, mental, right? Are you on the same level? Are you on the same path? Are you on the same wavelength? Are you surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded? Okay, so when you're that close to those other individuals who are thinking on the same wave as you, and not even to say like they're agreeing with you and everything, but they're just, they're here, they get it, right? They can challenge you, they can question you, and they can correct you, hold you accountable, right? Then that brings another level of intimacy where you might have an unbiased perception of yourself now, because you ever see how, like, for instance, if you have, let's say you and your girl go to your boy and his girl's house, right? And you guys get into a conversation about your relationships. And let's say your boy brings up a situation that you and your girl went through, but when you and your girl went through it, your girl wasn't listening to you. So she never really understood your perspective, and you might have gotten over it, but you still to that day probably didn't think she got it. So it wasn't until he said something that she actually listened, and now you're like, wait, why you listen to him and you didn't listen to me? But it's because she has an unbiased perspective. So now she's listening to it from someone else's perspective. She's not emotionally invested in what he's saying. So that makes sense, right? That's the proximity thing. So because she's closer to you than she is to him, she might feel you more emotionally, but he might get you more mentally because his emotions are never really involved as much as hers is in any situation. Okay, so the proximity in that sense and the proximity in the other sense, you see how they differ, the discrepancy between that. So when it comes to that, right now, that again, I'm gonna weed off into the friendship thing. The friends in itself, when it comes to, all right, now we're mentally on the same level, we get it. I can kick it with you and I can have these conversations. I can tell you the raw, the uncut, the unscripted, like how I feel. And you not look at me like, man, what you mean? Like, in the sense of, you're not going against me, you're listening to me first, okay? You're giving me the space to feel like I can at least speak to you. And then what that inadvertently does is it helps me accept what you might say afterward. So not only am I comfortable with expressing my feelings, but I'm also comfortable with your advice and I'm comfortable with your counsel because you're allowing me to have the space. Excuse me. Crazy. Anyway, you're giving me the space, right? So that's 1, 2, and that's 3. Okay. Now, what that does and what's so big about that whole thing and why I even thought about proximity is because we get those things confused. Like we assume that, oh, you're my brother. You're my blood brother. You need to know. You need to understand what I'm going through. And I haven't spoke to my blood brother. Not me, but, just I haven't spoke to my blood brother in, let's say, 3 months, 4 months. But I speak to Reese, right? One of my best friends. I speak to him every day. He's not my blood brother, but he's my best friend. He's in ways alike my brother, okay? So that relationship can be not confused, but it can be the same thing ultimately because that just proves to you that blood doesn't mean anything when it comes to somebody understanding. Why do you think that the first people to judge you and throw you out the window and discard you is your family in a lot of situations? Why do you think that your families are the first ones to tell you that you can't do something? Why do you think your families are the first people to tell you and to project onto you what is and what isn't possible? It's because they're not looking at you for you. They're looking at you in the lens of your family and how your family has been perceived and what your family has done. And so they're not giving you the space to be yourself. So, yeah, of course you're not going to be heard in a space where your family's there. Of course you're going to go to the family reunion and they're not going to accept that your career is shooting videos and taking photos. They're not going to accept that because your granddad and your dad, they was in a line. You know what I mean? They were in Chrysler and GM and they were in the factory. So that's commendable because they were able to provide for their families. So they weren't able to see outside the lens of what providing looks like in other spaces. Granted, there's so much, or there's so many more opportunities and so many more gateways nowadays than it was before. But it's so much, and there's so many things to be exposed to that it can become overwhelming that you might not be up to speed, and that's cool. But we have to have the what's the word? We have to have the grace and the understanding ourselves to get like, all right, cool. My dad and my mom, they're not gonna understand. They probably never will. But I have to come at peace with that, right? I have to become at peace with the fact that they may never understand my passion for what it is. And is that okay to me? Not necessarily. But do I get it? Yes. Therefore, I have peace. Therefore, when my dad says something like, well, yeah, son, you need to get a real job, I'm not going to take it personal. I'm not going to say he's the worst father ever because he's saying that I don't have, because he's saying that I don't have the potential, or it doesn't seem like he believes in me. And it's just that he might not understand all the way. Now, I'm not going to say he doesn't understand, like he's ignorant to the possibility of it working, but you might have something to say about that.
Because I feel like I that route, right?
Yeah.
Whenever we start making everything make sense,
right,
it forces everybody to say, shut up, that's what it is. You get what I'm saying? Like, it kind of killed the feelings part of it. So it's like, all right, when we talk about, if we was to talk about the problems in the black community, right, you can easily point the finger at one thing, right, and then say that's the truth, right? It just leaves us with, so what we going to do about the killing every day? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we talk about, bro, it's been bad out here, man. It's been killing every day, man. We got to fix this. Well, it really is because of this. This is the real problem. It's like, okay, I'm talking about the killings every day, though. Like, you get what I'm saying? So it's like, well, even though we got the reason as to why these people don't understand, it's like, why can't they at least listen and just be there for me, and you don't even got to share your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Just support it.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? I'm not doing nothing negative. So what's the problem? How is it hard? Why is it so hard for older people to get behind these young people and support them no matter what they're doing, as long as it's not negative?
Maybe they're jealous.
And that's the real problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad we put it
Yeah.
back on the real. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Because it's like, say that. And I know it's hard to say that because it's uncomfortable, cool, right? But the problem is we leaving it on us to just have this understanding. They need to have the understanding that they jealous.
Yeah.
And that's also hard to deal with. What do you do when your older brother jealous of you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I agree when it come to like the blood part, like it is what it is. Like, I really feel like we should start hand picking who our family is.
Mm-hmm.
Hand pick. It's some family members I really don't actually like at all, to be honest with you. Like, I don't agree with what they do. I don't agree with how they act. I don't agree with the energy they put off. I don't want to be around you. Cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I got some friends that I'd rather be around. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like we should just start all like just hand picking who we want in our lives, bro. Because who we have, yeah, it's a blessing, but at the same time, it can hurt us.
Mm-hmm.
And also, people have different moments in their lives where they might like me this week. I wasn't peak. Like, I'll just be honest with you. You didn't want to be my man this week. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't have a good week. You dig what I'm saying? But it's like when they start, it's okay to have little weeks off and stuff like that, bro. But when you like embody a personality of somebody so negative and nasty, it's like, I'm straight.
Okay, now that brings me back to the second point you made, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great transition. Forgiveness. That's what I heard.
Whew.
Yeah.
Now
Right?
that I could rather
Yeah.
just go home.
I
If
know.
we-
I know.
No, I got you.
But listen, we here, right?
Let's talk about it.
So you know, you said one of your bars from the Mama's Boy track, right? Which
Yeah.
we're gonna get into that. But along the lines of, why should I forgive?
They say forgive but not forget.
Okay, right, cool. They say forgive but not forget, right? They do.
Why?
Right? We hear that. And that's a self-righteous statement. It's so easy to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to accept that, man, but they need my forgiveness.
Who?
Man, but I need to forgive them. I need to let this go. Right? Because in that statement, I only hear one thing in that statement: pride. The power that it takes for you to not forgive somebody, it's like a double-edged sword, because that's then back on you in the sense of like, okay, they say forgive but don't forget. Usually people that say that still don't forgive, right?
Yeah, because they said if you real forgiveness is forgetting too, right?
It's not forgetting. It's understanding that, okay, this did happen. I forgive you. I genuinely forgive you. You don't forget that it happens, but you're not holding it against them. When you forgive someone, you forgive them completely. Now, if you're talking about, and you bring it, and you brought up like people in the church and religion and how, they're hypocrite. When you bring it up like that, if we're going there, the context of the word, the true context, when you forgive completely. There is no, I forgive you, but yeah, I ain't, I'm not rocking with you no more. Or I forgive you, but next time you do that, it's raps. There's no condition on the forgiveness because God puts no condition on his forgiveness. Facts. So we have to mirror his image. Then we have to literally go by how he is, right? If he forgives us completely, what gives us the power to not forgive someone else completely? Now listen though, let me ride real quick. Let me ride.
I got you.
Because the only difference in that is that that's God, right?
Yes.
So he's, he doesn't. I mean, he came down, he dealt with what we dealt with. He handled it differently. He was perfect. But we're human. We're in the flesh. Mm-hmm. We have the same struggles. However, we're human. So we're going to fall. I'm going to have a moment where I'm like, yeah, man, I ain't trying to forgive you right now. That's not going to happen. What you did was beyond forgiveness. I might feel self-righteous in that, but feel more pain because I'm not forgiving him and not even knowing that's why I'm not forgiving him or her or whatever. Now, if you talk about the context of...
That was fire.
No, okay.
That was good. That's
It's
the
the
best
truth.
I done heard it.
It's
That's
the
the best I done heard it.
It's the truth,
I ain't
though.
heard the truth yet then.
Facts.
Till today. Go ahead. I got you.
Brought to you by Full Circle. No, I'm kidding. But okay. Now, when it comes to who we're forgiving, that's where it becomes even more difficult because naturally, If somebody did you wrong, you want them to know they did you wrong. That's just the pride in us. That's just the I want to be right. That's just the no. I want you to see what you did. That's the my dog peed on the floor and I want her to smell the pee and so you know not to pee there no more. You know that's that, right? So now we talking about dads, fathers, right? Those guys, right? The context that you're speaking, I get it, and I'm gonna let you elaborate on it. I can't relate in the sense of like not forgiving my dad. I have my dad in my life. He's always been in my life. My mom and my dad are still married, right? I have that luxury. I'm very blessed too. I have a lot of friends who don't have the best relationship with their dads. I have a lot of friends who have a relationship with their dad, but it's confusing, right? I have a lot of friends who don't have dads. Okay?
Yep.
So their opinion and their perspective on this is completely different than mine. Now, I personally feel like I'm able to step outside and look at it and understand because I'm not against it in its essence of like, I get it. But who would I be if I were to facilitate this pride and this anger amongst my own friends and people that I love, and I know that that's not good for them? It might not happen today, might not happen tomorrow.
I like that.
But I'm never going to pretend to be, I'm not going to pretend that I am 110% on board with how everybody might feel. And I think it's okay to not feel how your friends feel all the time and still be in a healthy way. I can disagree with you on how you're feeling about something, and it's still your feelings. That doesn't mean your feelings are invalid. But if I have the space to feel, if I have the space to feel opposite of how you feel, then essentially, then I have to have something to give in return. I have to have some wisdom in the situation, because if I don't, then I'm just being a hater. I'm just being like, man, yeah, nah, I ain't with that, right? I'm just being negative about it. But if I'm saying no, I get it, but check this out, man. Listen, you go down this road, it can lead there, it can lead here, it can lead there, it can lead here, it can lead there. It's not good for you, you know. It's much more fruitful and it's much more healthy if you go this route, you do this thing, you pray on it, meditate on it, think about whatever, right? You go and you do this thing and you let go. Because when you let go, then that thing does not have power over you anymore. You think you have power because you're saying, no, I don't want to forgive you? That's that situation and that person have a power over you and they don't even know it. That's worse. When someone has power over you and they don't even know they have power over you. Because now you're spending all your time thinking about the one thing that you convincing yourself, I ain't think about this. And it's literally the only thing on your mind. So inadvertently, it's detrimental to your psyche. It's detrimental to your heart, because then your heart posture changes. Then you get all slouched and you become all nasty and negative and everybody is the villain. And in reality, as messed up as the situation may be, you could be the villain. You could be the villain, right? You could be the one that is despised in the eyes of others. You could be the one that's bringing destruction to the house. You could be the one that's bringing sadness to your friends or families. Like you could be the one. That's very possible, right? So I just think if we're going back to like, and this all has to do with like the forgiveness thing, then as hard as it is to forgive, and it's hard for a reason, because there is so much freedom in it. The hardest things to go through are the things that give us the most freedom, right? So the Civil War, what else? The civil rights, right? You marching down, what's the word? I don't even know the word, that road, whatever road they were on. Like you marching down the road, you marching for your rights. One summer, that fall, a law passed. No more whites only water fountains. You marched. That was the hard part. There was the freedom. Oh, no more whites only. No more colors this, no more whites that, right? No more east, no more west, right? No more I own this territory, this is our territory. There's freedom at the end of every single piece of tribulation and thing that we go through. But we have to have the wisdom, and if we don't have the wisdom, then we have to have people around us with that wisdom to help us navigate through those decisions that we don't want to make. Because even if you are aware enough to know that, okay, yeah, I'm not forgiving this person and I haven't, you have to also be aware enough to know that, okay, cool, it's possible because I really want to, because I know what it can be for me. I know what he can do for me. I moved on. I'm human. He's human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you were just talking about how, you can have a bad week, you can have a bad month, you can be out for a couple of whatever, like you can be gone. So if you have that mentality about friends, why not have that same mentality about other people? Because then you're being a hypocrite, right? You're being the one that's not really living up to his own. You're the one that's not giving this person or that person grace now. So now you're in the boat of, maybe it's you. You the only one that's looking at everybody else saying that they tripping, but maybe you the one that's tripping, what if? So.
My turn?
Yeah, your turn, man. Go ahead.
All right, so first off, so what I want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So part of my journey with this whole Mama's Boy experience is being a voice for others as well.
Right.
So I'm not just going to solely speak on me in my relationship because, like, with me, right? I'm going to touch on me right quick. With me and mine, right? He was there.
Right.
And he was not there. And he was there, and he was not there. But the times he was there, it felt like he wasn't there because what was I left with? Feelings of emptiness, feelings of like never wanting to be like him, resentment, like seeing a lot of things too early that I shouldn't even been seeing, or how like to treat a woman, and like I got this saying where I say I literally learn how to treat a woman by seeing how not to. So it bothers me when I treat my girl a certain way, and people just commend me like, man, your parents must have raised. Like, no, I actually seen how mine was, and I said I'm going to be the total opposite. So is that forgiveness or is that?
It's awareness.
Cool, right? So let's keep I like the awareness feature, right? Because I agree with a lot of stuff that you said, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like we also have to be aware of reality. And I feel like every time we get to the Bible or we get to the church or we get to the older people and the ways of living and these black and white ways to live, we always forget reality. Yeah. The reality is, this the reality. If he ain't there, he didn't want to be there, and he don't care to be there. When it gets to a certain time, it ain't no grace for it. It ain't nothing else to say about it. He ain't blank.
Gotcha.
You get me? So that's me speaking for the rest of the world right there.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
Because I broke mine down, right? But for the rest of the world, is he ain't blank, right? So it's like, when we get in these spaces where it's like we break down forgiveness, and I swear I've never heard nobody break it down like that. That was amazing, right? I wish more people could break it down like that, because you know what they leave it as? That's your father. Forgive him. Right. That's it. They don't say no. It's just like, that's your father. Forgive him. That's your brother. Forgive him. Yeah. That's your mother. Forgive him. Like, you don't know what, you didn't mention nothing that was done. Yeah. You didn't mention, you didn't even hear my feelings. You hear what I said? I said he did this, and this. You talking about forgive him? What am I forgiving? I don't get it. Like, how do you forgive? You get what I'm saying? And I feel like there's all these lists on. It's like a whole bunch of things out on like forgive. So many different ways to say it. So many different wording. All these beautiful ways they dress it up to pressure people into forgiving. But there's no way on telling somebody how to. All it is pray about it. Right. You think I haven't? You think I ain't prayed? But what am I praying about? For him to step in my life one day? Like, I don't get it. Like, what? Let's talk about the people who died not there at all. Like, never seen him. Don't know who he is. Left their life way early. Didn't even sign a birth certificate. Yeah. What are you praying for? Yeah. I wouldn't even want a man I never had. That's why I embrace the motherhood. Yeah. It's like, I'm aware that my mama was man enough to be that. That's what I'm aware of. You get what I'm saying? And and my forgiveness come in more like, I'm gonna be a better man than you, so I'm straight. Yeah. Like, that's like me and my pops now. We in a space now, bro, where it's like, we good. We good. In my eyes. I don't care about his eyes. Wanna know why? I don't care if you think we good, bad, perfect. Wanna know why? Because at the end of the day, my life the whole way up to this point, it was shaky. Because of you. I'm a kid. I don't know. So I think another time was like, we also have to be aware and live in reality that we also create these same people. Like the fact that they weren't there.
Yeah.
This is what it created. There's no way you can black and white out of that. This is what you created.
Yeah.
And we have to find a better way to hold people accountable instead of just telling the victim to forgive them. Because what way are we going to hold them accountable? So I'll come to my dad. My dad ain't been there my whole life. Dad, I forgive you. You know when that usually happens? When they on their deathbed or something, right? Dad, I forgive you. Or when they just magically come around or some random way. Because some kids actually want to go meet their dad. They actually go search and seek to meet their father because there's something missing. A man needs his dad and all that good stuff, right? That's why in the song I say, they say it take a man to raise a man, which I disagree with, right? Because I feel like it takes whoever's there to raise whoever. That's reality speaking. A man should be there and a woman should be there. That's reality speaking. A mom and a dad should be there, right? And if they not there, you're just gonna get raised by whoever's there. That's why I agree with it takes a village to raise a child. But that village has to be very, very aware of what's going on. Because we get to these places where we look up, it actually hurts me when an uncle of mine who seen my life growing up without my pops wasn't there. He seen the whole situation, and I'm older now, and this hurt was created, and you telling me, forgive him. I'm like, ain't you mad too? You had to be my daddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you know, like that don't bother you? Like, it's like the older generation is just like they stuck on who somebody is, forgive them. But why? If you ask them why, they're going to attach it to the Bible. So how does that make me feel as a kid? Or they're going to attach it to church. How's that going to make me feel as a kid? I'm talking to the kids right now. This ain't got nothing to do with me right now. How does that make me feel as a kid? You get what I'm saying? So we going to have a lot of, like, this new generation of kids, it's over. We might as well hang it up on them having their own, like the whole parents bring them to church all the time. Like, we have in our own minds, bro. We aware. Like, the awareness factor is big. And I'm glad you mentioned that. But I think we need to be aware on the other side as well. So how I talked about having a bad day or a bad week, how about not being there in your child's life at all? I think they should go. I think it should be like illegal. I ain't gonna lie. I think it should be illegal or something. Seriously, it needs to be something out here that forces parents to be parents, not child support. I'm talking about a real force, like a real. You have to be there for your child, some way, somehow. Mentally, physically, like financially will help. But if you ain't got it, you just ain't got it. There's other systems and stuff that's going on while you might have got it. But the least you can do, I'm talking about the easiest thing to be is there for somebody. That's it. Even if you're not there for yourself. That's what happens when you have a kid. You know how if we had a kid right now, they'd be like, oh, you ready for that? You too young. I'm like, did y'all ask my dad that? Did y'all tell my dad that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Did you talk to the dads on it? Yep. Like, because at the end of the day, you're taking on a big responsibility. So how could you leave your responsibility out here and then not and it's on us. We're responsible for ourselves, right? So if I'm responsible for me, right, and I gotta be the one that take care of me, I have to face this stuff head on when I'm an adult, because the same way we ask and we telling these people to forgive, it's like it's a lot of pieces that was missing. A man supposed to teach me how to cut grass. A man supposed to teach me how to change a tire. A man supposed to teach me how to treat a woman. I had to learn all of that on my own, and it's still stuff I don't know as an adult. So how does that make me feel when I'm meeting a woman and she like, I need you to do this, and you don't know how to do that? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that takes us as men to step up and be in every little boy life. If we think that it takes a boy to raise a man, whatever that goofy stuff we say, if we think it takes men to raise other boys to be men, it's on all of us then. Right. It's on all of us. And they say men are the leaders of the world. They say we have to really, because even with the song, like, it's like I wanted, when I first was writing Mama's Boy, I say, I was gonna make it just about my mama, like how she just was so amazing. It's like how Kanye did his, right? He was just so mom, and I was like, you can't talk about the mom and embracing her so much, because I was only embracing her because that's all I had. What do you expect? All Mama's Boys is a boy that only had his mama is a lot of the times. You get what I'm saying? Who really got their dad in their life actively and still a mama's boy? Who really got that? You never see that. You never see that for real. I'm talking about a real active dad. He there. He at every game. He rooting for you. He's on all of that type of time. You'll have a good balance. You know what you're going to be? A great balanced child. but we ain't gonna have a lot of those. But we're gonna leave it on the kids. So if I grew up not in a balanced household, what you think I'm gonna be? An unbalanced. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying reality, awareness. I'm with all of that. And I'm with forgiveness, but I'm saying how. When we get down, how, forget the little, it's going to hurt you more than, I want to hurt him. How about that? I want to hurt him. Forget if it's going to hurt me. I want to hurt him. You know what I'm saying? That's how they feel. I want to hurt him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you really forgive?
Right.
All we do is say real forgiveness is this. You can say that. The Bible can say this. This can say this. I'm trying to ask, what is real forgiveness and how do you really do it? Until we have that answer, because I believe it's subjective. I believe it's up to who you are, and time, I think, helps. And I think understanding helps as well, too. But it's hard to understand why a man was not in his child life and he had opportunity to. That's all I'm saying. And I'm with you, though.
Yeah, no. It's very hard to understand anything as a child before your adolescence when you don't even have that logic to operate from.
Yep.
I mean, as you know, in most households, the women are the emotional ones, the men are the logic ones, right? Logical ones. And that's not to say anything bad. That's just like the nature of who we are as people. You know, women are naturally more emotional, so they handle things a little bit more emotionally, or they implement a little bit more a little bit more emotion into things. And men are just I can fix that. You know what I mean? The men are, I can do that. The women are, how can you do that? And the women are, what can we do?
So imagine missing that.
Right. And that's what I'm getting, right?
Yes.
Like, you don't have that to balance you out. So, and I'll be honest, man, like, what you were saying, like, I want to hurt him. That's, people can hear that and be like, man, you tripping, woo, woo, like, you know, like, because one thing I can agree with, especially from, like, the whole, like, church perspective, is that there are culturally, historically, in a lot of churches, right, like, in a lot of people's experiences, they've met the people in the church, right? They've met the people in the church and they completely miss what the church is about. So they allow that interaction or those people to define what the church is. I hear a lot of people talk about that a lot of the times, man, where they speak on it. The Bible says this. People say that like it's a blanket statement, because to them it is. They don't understand. I can tell who doesn't understand and who does, because if you did, then you would know the surrounding text. You would know what comes before and after. You would know why that's being said. You would know what was said 3 pages ago. Like, you would know these things.
No, facts.
Because if you don't read, then you can't understand. But if you just listen, you think about it. People get a lot of their opinions from other people. You hear something that you resonate with off the pure chance that you heard it.
That's why what I just said was all what other people say.
Right, you spoke for, I get that. And I like that because, it's sad because there are a lot of men, boys in that situation who say that, who think that.
I'm saying that to say, like, we need more people that's actually, because if you're right, people listen to other people's opinions, perspectives, and all that good stuff, right? They canceled out reading and all of that, right? So it's like the real readers, you have a responsibility to speak truth, just like you spoke right there. Because, like I said, for you to say that, I grew up in church. I grew up a church boy, I'm telling you. So for you to break down forgiveness the way you broke it down versus the ways I heard forgiveness, it says who read and who doesn't.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So for us to live in society, how you just said, how everybody only listens to other people's opinions, it takes more and more people to also hold other people accountable that are Christian, are Bible readers, to really be real Christians and real Bible readers and spread the real truth. If it's going to spread.
Right.
Because you're forcing us to live in reality at all times. And when stuff don't connect with reality, people are going to turn away.
Yeah. Because it's like, you don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah,
right?
I just had to add that because that was good what you said.
You're absolutely right, bro. And to circle back, to make the point that I was making about what you said, right, where you were like, you know, I want to hurt him. How about that? I want to hurt him. How does that sound, right? I like that you said that in the way of, like, what I mean by that is, like, you know, I love that that's the transparent truth. But what I think is evident in a lot of situations where you have someone like you saying something like that, or someone who's in the same position saying something like that, is that usually the people that they're saying it to are the people who, A, don't listen, and 2, are legalistic. They only hear what you're saying and the intent of what you're saying, and they're only taking it at face value. They're not looking at what's beyond that. They're looking at you saying that, and they're gonna judge you for it. They're not looking at it like, oh man, Devin just said he want to hurt his dad because his dad ain't been in his life and he ain't want to forgive him.
Right.
God bless that child. He need Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Versus you talking to, let's say you talking to somebody else in the church, right? Now this is two different sides of it, right? You got this church, the church hurt, and you got the actual accurate depiction of people who are living it, breathing it, who are humans themselves, who fall, who are transparent about it, who you wouldn't even know from a can of paint. You wouldn't even be able to put them on the same plastic wall as some of the perfect people, the Bible dumping Christians that you've met, because they're giving you themselves. They're being themselves, and that's not illegal. That's not a sin. It's not a sin to be you in the way in which you're sharing your flaws. You might have done that. You've done this. You still struggle with that. That's okay, because there is a side of that where, okay, boom, I'm dealing with this. I'm struggling with this. Now the only way to overcome, to go past, to not even be beyond it, but to reconcile with that is to acknowledge it. And the only way to acknowledge it is to talk about it. And the only way to talk about it is to be honest. So now going back to the other person you're talking about in the church, right? I want to hurt my dad. How about that? The response was like this, man, listen, if I was you, I would want to hurt your dad too.
You preaching right now. I'm just gonna
That's
say
the truth.
Like, you
That's
preaching right now. Though. You preaching.
But
I just no. You really like you. I don't think you get what you're saying. You really preaching right now. Go ahead. I got you.
It's God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I hear a lot of people who are hurt, and I hear a lot of people who have these opinions. Listen, bro, I'm in all of my circles. I'm the one that makes sense of everything. Usually, I'm the one that at once upon a time nobody wanted to hear my opinion because I'm the one that made everything logical. I'm the one that made you think about it. I'm the one that made you think about yourself in a way you ain't want to think about yourself. I'm the one that made you look at yourself in the mirror, right? And before I was able to do that, I was struggling to do that myself. And I'm even still struggling to do that to this day. I'm not perfect, right? Now, with that being said, again, I want to hurt your dad too. If I was in your position, I would want to hurt him too, Dev. But check this out, man. Think about it. If your dad walked in this room right now, he said, hey, son, I love you. And you decided you wanted to punch him. You wanted to hurt him for real. Would you feel free? Would it be any different? Would you wake up feeling better? Or would you wake up with the same anger, same hurt, same confusion, now without any answers?
That's good.
How would you feel, right?
That's good.
And so I'm saying this to you because now what happens is you probably gonna say, well, yeah, now that you say that, I'm probably not gonna feel better. So then man, dang, like hitting him, hurting him, I ain't gonna do nothing. What do I need to do? Maybe I should talk to him. Is he ready to talk? Let me go ask him. And but look, it's not that easy.
You had it.
It's not that easy.
It's
not that
I
easy.
was with you.
It's not that easy. Look, I know it's not that easy. I know.
Doing it was good. Talking was good.
Yeah.
We have to stop pushing people to always talk though,
Right.
because it can hurt more.
But what does that mean though?
Okay.
What does that mean? What is
be an ain't blank dad right quick, okay?
Okay. All right.
Hey, let me act. Okay, let's do it. You're the dad, and don't. I'm talking about really be an ain't one. No, don't. Yeah, okay.
What's the scenario? What are we doing?
This is the whole church thing. I
cool.
just talked to the deacon.
Cool.
He told me to go kick it
Cool.
with you. You in the building?
Are you ready?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even know where to start. I don't like that you wasn't in my life. I don't like that you just left my mom out here raising me by myself.
Son, I didn't leave your mom. What you talking about? I didn't leave your mom. Your mom.
Right there, I'm sorry. I can't go lie. That's too much right there. That's what I'm saying though. But you see how that would hurt more though?
Yeah.
So as much as it's like talk, it's like he got to be ready too. He got to be ready to receive, and he got to be ready to listen. It's really hard, okay? Like it's like
I get the layers.
can you forgive without talking to somebody though? Like, is that cool? Can I like forgive you and just not want a relationship with you?
It's all right from the way that I understand that, to understand your fellowship is where you should always be. You should never incorporate people in your space that don't serve your space. So you can forgive somebody.
Are we good?
And then be like, listen, I forgive you. I don't hate you. I have no ill feelings towards you. But we can't be friends. We can't be in the same space. You can go do you, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna keep it over here, you keep it over there. That's cool.
a father though? You can do that with.
I have mixed feelings about that though, because like I said, I have my father, so I can't give you my opinion from experience, but I can give you my opinion from my experience from how I will understand, how I think I will understand it, right? Or just from my heart now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if someone, because the definition, even biblically, as to be someone's father is to take care of them, to be there for them,
Right.
to be their provider, to be their protector. That's what being a father is. You can be a stepfather and be a father to somebody. You can be
Shout out
a
to the
father
stepdads.
a father by association. You can just raise this kid and he look at you like his father. That's very true. And in every sense, every essence of the word, that's your father. You don't have to sugarcoat it like, yeah, he's on my blood. No, he's your father. You can keep it there, right? Now, as far as your blood biological father, I think that if that person is put in the effort to, I mean, for lack of a better word, to make up for lost time, and they're trying to turn around, because you got to think about it, man. You have to, if you're gonna be on one end, and let's take your father out of it, on one end, you're gonna be like, man, listen, everybody deserves forgiveness, everybody makes mistakes. Then you have to then extend that same courtesy to that person that hurt you.
Yeah.
You can't make that exemption, because then you're the hypocrite. So now when it comes down to that person actually trying, you may be in such a place where you're blocking yourself from even seeing them try, right? You may be so caught up.
good.
You may be so caught up in them coming over and over and over, like time and time again, and you might stop them this time before they even get to the door. And the time you stopped them before they got to the door was the time that they were actually serious. They were actually there. They were actually ready, right? Because I always say this, right? People who have addictions, people who have struggles, people who have issues that ultimately deter them from their family, bro, they're sick. And not sick like they nasty or no, they're sick. Like they have a condition, right? And they need help. So if we look at everybody with that lens, like they need help, and not only that, I need help too. I'm not perfect. Going back to the church thing, the church is for people who are, lack of a better word, who are dirty, who need their dirt cleaned up. The church is not for everybody who's perfect. I don't know where everybody got that from.
I don't know either.
But that's not the Bible I read, right? There's no scripture that says we're all perfect. Come to church only if you're perfect. The Bible I read, it says, come to the church as you are.
Yeah, I think that should
Come as you are. That's what it is. Come as you are. That's it. Come as you are. Allow the transformation and the evolution and the love of God to transform you, but come as you are. You don't got to have it all mixed. You don't got to be debt free. You don't got to be celibate. You don't got to be a virgin. You don't got to not do drugs. You can come to the church if you work in the corner from 9 to 5, smoking weed every day, doing coke, doing hair. You can come to church if you want that. Transformation, if you seek that, if you are able to look at yourself in a way where I'm not even perfect, so I'm not tripping about being perceived a certain way when I know my life ain't what it is.
That's good.
I'll be the first to tell you, bro, my life ain't perfect, one, but then two, I'll be the first to tell you that I struggle with things you probably wouldn't even believe. You know what I mean? So, and I can tell you that, right? And I can get explicit. I can open up that door. But that's just me being self-aware. That's just me being aware of my issues to the point where, again, I know I have issues, so I'd be damned if I looked at you like you should have it all together, because I don't, you know? So ultimately, I think when it comes down to that person that just wants, your father, that if he wants to be different, if he wants to change, it might be when you 40 years old, bro.
Yeah.
And your dad decides, man, my whole life I've been tripping, and I know I've been tripping. If the same way you said they should just listen, you try that. Next time your dad want to actually sit and talk, just listen to him.
If they try, I definitely agree. I agree. And I agree with pretty much everything you said, for sure. The concept of forgiveness is clearly hard on both sides.
100%.
But ultimately, somebody's hurting, period. Whether you forgive or not, it's going to be a process of doing it. It's going to be a hurting process of doing it. But the best thing to do, if trying and effort is being done or ready to be done on both sides, make it happen.
Right.
I just want to be careful with the kids
Yeah.
when we telling them that the aggressive way of your days are getting shorter. That's where I'd be like, okay, let's calm down now, guys. Like, let's relax now. Like, even if it's true, you know what I'm saying? It's like certain way we got to say stuff for certain people.
Okay.
So, but like I said, I like how you broke everything down. I really hope that people from this conversation, people can like use your way of saying it at least.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Even if because a lot of people saying the same thing you're saying, they just not saying it like that. I mean, they mean the same thing you're saying, they just not saying it like that. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, if they can say it, because you have to break it down for people to understand. It can't, not one in this conversation did you say, well, you know you supposed to because your days are getting shorter, or you supposed to because that's your father. Like, you're not saying the typical quick things to just say.
Because
like,
it ain't quick and it ain't easy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is saying, I understand you. I hear you. I will want to too. Because the moment somebody's speaking into somebody else's life, you almost kind of like put them on a pedestal as they speak. But when they tell you, the person on the pedestal say, no, I would do the same thing that you thinking right now. But since I'm up here thinking and I'm not in that emotional space that you in right now, what is that really going to do though?
Yeah.
Because I do that to my friends about other situations, so I know exactly, you feel what I'm saying, what you're saying. So I think that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
So yeah, kids out there really, really, really listen to that. That was.
And I hope they do.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I hope everybody do. Even just on the side of like the people that's speaking into other people, like because you doing this and you don't have a role in people's life as a pastor, as a therapist, like all that stuff. So those people that do have a role in people's lives where they come to you about their issues, knowing ways to kind of say it, where it's not this black and white way.
And I will say this too, right? Like, I think just even through the progression of our relationship as well, like, I've seen levels of dynamics and psych, like just how you think and others in the groups as well, like how we all think and when we come together, what we've experienced together, and just consistently what has been the roles in the relationships, right? I would like to think that, you know, I remember the first time you saw my dad for the first time, you're like, yo, that's your dad? Like, and you just, I feel like you had an idea of what my dad was like and who he was like, and then you just trying to make it make sense. Like, yo, this is your dad, this is you, like, right? But I mean, listen, I love my father. My father is one of my biggest supporters. He's always been there for me. My dad is, he raised me, right? I've developed things from him. I look just like the guy, right? You know what I mean? But but I think that another part of that is I didn't really get to know my dad till I was 14. So, and people don't know that. You know what I mean? You see me as a kid, you see my dad, you think me and my dad got the best. It's not that we had a bad relationship, we just didn't really have one. We didn't really have one. Man. It wasn't like a bad didn't have one. It's just we didn't have one. Like, it was weird because I just didn't know how to level with my father until I was 14. I didn't have a real conversation until I was in high school, 8th grade. So now, I mean, as an adult, as a grown man, I'm like, okay, cool. I can go kick it with my dad. I can call my dad, talk to him, go to his house and, chill with him on the patio and just talk about anything. Tell him my ideas, tell him about what I got going on in my life. You know what I mean? But that for sure, I think if I would have had a relationship early on with my father that was like, lack of a better word, I don't know, that was substantial as a kid, then some things might have been different. But I don't know. I don't know why we didn't have a relationship when I was a kid. I think it's because, I'm the youngest of 6. So, he was, through my early years, he was from 37 to like 45, right? Like, so at that point, he had raised 5 kids. He wasn't trying to raise another 2, you know what I mean? Like, so it was one of those things where it's like, man, he's tired, So I have my brothers and my sisters to raise me. And I have my friends, my tribe to help craft and shape me, right? And that's where I found a lot of my love and a lot of my communities with my friends and my brothers and my sisters. And so I don't blame my dad because I understand why the dynamic was what the dynamic was. He was no longer in this is my son, it's my little beautiful son. Like, he honestly treated me like I was already grown. Like he talking to me when I'm 5, like I'm 13. Like like I'm for sure I got Trump now. I'm kidding. Okay.
no, I got
But
you.
it's one of those things where like, it shaped me and I didn't even know it was shaping me until I
Yeah.
was old enough to really understand my past and
Yeah.
you know.
And it's no book on parenting, so
Yeah.
it's not as if it should be like held to like a standard of wow, like you were that bad or you were that good. You just got to be there.
Mhm.
It's no book on parenting. I agree, but you have to have your own book that you writing, bro. That's it. As a parent, if you don't got that, it's disappointing, bro. So I'm definitely glad you had that too. And like even growing up with people that had their dads, like me being close friends with them, I never once got like jealous or anything. I just embrace it as like, oh, that's my pops too. I ain't gonna lie. Like that's
Yeah.
because like you go over their house, they treating you like you one of them. They like, man, why you ain't take the trash out? I'm like, I don't even live here. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. Like it was just, I'm glad you had it. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you had it, bro. Seriously. Yeah, it's amazing to see, you know what I'm saying, the man you are today. You know, so, yeah, bro.
So I got a quick question, man.
What you about to hit me with?
Just real quick, man. What after all we just uncovered, essentially from the drop down of you talking about the Mama's Boy project you got coming out and everything, and kind of your psyche behind it, and just kind of being the voice of the kids of the young boys right now, right? What is it that you want out of this project? I know you said you want the kids to hear you, to understand. You want them to be the voices. You want people to hear that perspective and people to really understand it. Again, people to listen at the end of the day. But for you, was this like something that was brewing inside of you, or was this just kind of like an epiphany you had just now in your adult life where you're like, man, I need to do this? Like, I need to do this because it's vital for these kids, these men, even grown men, to hear this record because, listen, this is where I'm at. This is where I was at, you know, and this is where this is where a lot of people are right now. They're probably not speaking up. But the way I see it, it could be definitely a record for people who don't have that voice and who haven't even voiced it. So you might be voicing it perfectly for them.
You just hit it on the nose.
You know?
That was it. So, Mama's Boy, it's like me going through it.
Sorry.
No, I got you. It's like me going through it and not having nobody that heard me or understood me during that time. I look back and I seen how that felt for me, and it was a terrible feeling. And I'm like, I've been through this, so I can speak to this. And I know a lot of people that have been through this, so I can speak to theirs as well, right? Because we were so young, we didn't even know what was really going on.
Right.
Type thing, you
There
know?
you go.
Like,
Yeah,
we
facts.
just having fun. But,
Right.
like, I'm older now, and I'm reflecting. I'm seeing how similar me and other mama's boys are at this age. How much stuff we don't know how to do as a man. We calling on each other, yo, bro, like, and I'm finally letting other men in my life, like younger men my age, have that comfortability with each other. Like, bro, we can tell each other if we don't know how to do something, bro. Because if you know, then you can teach me. So my girl ain't got to be looking at me like, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, but it really, just seeing how it was for me, I said, I have to have something that these younger kids can come up and say, like, he get me. He get me. Therefore, now you can say less, play the song for whoever you trying to explain it to and say, that's how I feel. And it could just be that. Because also how I'm able to express, I'm down to speak on mine and stand on it. Everybody else not that equipped. Everybody else not that confident. And some people are actually scared of their parents.
Right. Wow.
Some people dads are actually dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Some people like got some other situations going on where they can't comfortably speak on this, but they still need that outlet. It's nothing like knowing somebody hear you. So in the record, I touched on every single type of way possible in this. I'm talking about, like, I talked about people that grew up in the hood without their dads, people that grew up in the birds without their dad, people that like had the dad, but he was like, it's a lot of different ways I touched on it, but I did it strategically so everybody can say, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Even for the older men
Right.
that's older than us,
Right.
that also were mama's boys.
Yeah.
And hell, they probably even lost their moms at this age that they at now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it hit a little
Different.
for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the goal. I mean, I believe I executed it, but if only if one, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
You know.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah. So
Well, man, listen, I think that this entire conversation has been really, 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 and I mean, and I don't think I can make words make the justice of really how this conversation has been going, because I feel like you've opened up layers and peeled back so many things that I kind of expected to go and peel back on, but I didn't really anticipate just how deep, you know what I mean? Like really. And I appreciate that, because that's what I want. But I for sure know that everything that we touched on in this entire conversation, and there's so much more that I want us to really like dive into, bro. Like, but I feel like considering just the nature of where we went, I think that this is good. This is enough. This is where we need to just sit and meditate on and allow this to kind of do what it's supposed to do.
yeah,
I appreciate your mind, bro, and your vulnerability on the subject matter and the topic, because like we said, bro, it's just there's not many people who are in a position where they feel like they can even do that. Granted, the people who they don't feel like they can do it with might be the culprit for that situation, but nonetheless, you felt like you could open up to me, and I appreciate you even opening up that space, not only to me but to the community in itself, because this is important. This isn't just like locker room talk. This is like real talk, right? So I definitely appreciate you coming on, bro, and sharing that and being an advocate for those boys and the men, even like, right, and just for people, and even other things that we did touch on, for people who are like minds in that sense of, well, even people who don't agree. This might be good for them to listen to, because it's healthy to listen to things that you don't always agree with, because now you have perception, understanding, and now you can have a better intention going into the conversation with someone whom may have that positioning.
That's why I'm so glad the way you spoke on it, because I spoke and then like you added your perception, your perspective on it, and it was like different, but it was like perfect. So when they show somebody, it's like people gonna agree with you, people gonna agree with me, people gonna agree with whatever they thought for themselves.
Right.
But regardless, this conversation is really gonna be like something that they can use to like start that thought in their mind. Have I forgave my parents?
Yeah.
Have I forgave myself?
Yeah.
Am I the villain? Like you saying
Yeah.
that, I didn't even take it like, who you talking to? You know what I'm saying? I took it as, this about to. That's why I said, oh, you preaching, because you ain't talking to me. You talking to the masses right now. Like it's me and more. You dig what I'm saying? So I appreciate you even coming in that type of way, man. That just show the community side of you, though. Like just always being focused on what the community need to hear. And I was able to open up because this feel like a therapy session right here, man. I'm about done. I'm burnt. Ain't it like a timer on therapy sessions? I'm tired.
It's intense.
It's intense.
I need my cookies and water.
You doing lists and stuff while you talking? Like,
yeah.
That's gonna be dope, man.
No, that's
I'm
cool,
glad
man.
you had me on, man. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man. And like I said, you in the community, bro.
Oh yeah.
People don't know what how you contribute, but you do. You contribute really heavily into the community and for full circle. So I appreciate everything that you've done and will do in the future, but also just again today, more importantly. And I also want to extend this message to, and then I'll open it up to you to have a closing remark, and we can get out of here, man. We can get out. But I want to say this, right? Like I said, proximity breeds intimacy, right? Understand who's in your circle, who's around you, who is feeding you in a healthy way, right? Like who is contributing to your space in the most healthy way. don't get it confused with people who are just around you to be around you. Because just because someone's right next to me don't mean that they right next to me. If you get what I'm saying, right? So let that be a reminder on top of listening, on top of understanding, being vulnerable, knowing the spaces where you can, and if you aren't, then open your mouth, say something, because we can't get anywhere if we don't communicate with each other. That's the one thing that's important in any relationship. We always emphasize it in the intimate relationships, but what about the friendships? What about the brothers and sisters, the mothers and fathers? Like, we have to communicate. We have to speak to each other. No one's higher than each other. And again, if you have real wisdom, listen. People with real wisdom don't talk over people. They don't think that they're right all the time. They have the ability to listen. Only the fool says he's wise, and only the fool listens to his own mouth. So we have to understand that we have to understand, and that's just that simple, right? So this was episode 6, and I'm so happy that we have Dev on here. And, that was my spiel, but I want to let you, if you have anything else to say, if you want to say anything, just go ahead and open the floor, and I got you.
Man, only thing I have to say is everything that good brother just closed out on, that's all we need to hear, man. That was great. That's it, man. I don't got nothing to add. That was amazing. That wrapped it up perfectly and just spoke it in a way they can leave with something, a direction to go in. And I don't want to go in that direction. Do what you need to do. Don't let me get in your way, And be blessed, man. Praying for everybody, man.
Oh, yeah.
Love y'all all. Facts.
Oh, yeah. Godspeed, everybody.
Yeah.
We out of here. This is the end of season 1.
Oh, I'm great.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. I do got closing remarks. Let's wrap up this season right here, man. What a great season, season 1. You did a great job this season. I must admit, starting, being brave, stepping out on faith, it's really going to inspire a lot of people. I was here to see it all, so feel a little good about that. But just to close it out, this man is going to be great in this space. If y'all just listen, this was just a little taste. I got him to talk a little different way that he did on the other episodes. So hopefully the next guest, I'm going to give you some tricks on how to get him out that space so he can really get in his, his real bag. But it's a good man y'all following, man. So I appreciate you.
Praise God. I appreciate you, brother.
Do it.
We out.
We out.
Godspeed.